Having the ability to identify lying people is a very valuable skill these days because this skill can help us in business relationships and especially get rid of malicious people. However, identifying when someone is lying can be a challenge since people are very skilled at hiding their lies. Over the years, researchers have human behavior has been studied to find out how a lying person behaves, and although there is no formula to accurately detect lies, there are several patterns of behavior in a lying person, and in this video we are going to know 5 subtle signs of lying people, and you will be able to easily identify when someone is trying to deceive you. But detecting lies is not so simple, so be prudent and always take into account considering the context of human interactions. The first sign that a person is a liar is when he avoids specific details. Avoiding details is one of the signs of lying that can be observed when someone is being questioned about the veracity of a story, because when a person is lying she may have difficulty providing accurate details such as dates, local names or other information that can be substantiated. Instead, person may provide vague or generic answers to avoid being caught in contradiction. For example, if someone is telling a story about a trip he has taken but is lying, he will avoid providing details such as the name of the hotel where the guests stayed, the places they visited, and the exact travel dates. Instead, she might give vague answers like "I went to some places" or "I stayed in a nice hotel." It's important to note to avoid talking about the details. By itself, it is not definitive proof that someone is lying, as there can be many reasons for someone not remembering the details of a trip, for example such as poor memory, stress or anxiety. However, if the lack of details is combined with other signs of lie, and if it happens to repeat itself sometimes in different parts of the story, it can be an indication that something is wrong, and in that case it takes into account the context of the events. According to voice change, when someone is lying there may be changes in the way the person speaks, and these changes may be due to anxiety, stress or nervousness associated with lying. When a person is lying, they may have a variation in the tone of their voice during a conversation. The voice, it can be higher or lower than the person's normal tone, and this change is usually due to anxiety or exertion. To appear with Vicente, in addition, there are variations in the pace of speech that can be faster or slower than the person's normal pattern. This happens due to the effort he makes to keep the story in line with the lie, or the pause to think about the details that are obviously false. Vocal quality such as clarity and flow of speech can also be affected when someone is lying, as the person can come across as exciting, stuttering or having difficulty articulating words, for example, and all that emotional attention associated with lying can lead to having tremor and tension in the voice that is very noticeable in your voice that is shaky. But keep in mind that analysis of the voice as a sign of lying is more reliable when compared to the person's normal speech pattern, and always taking into account your personality. Third, defensive behavior. The behavior defensiveness is another sign that can be seen when someone is lying, because when a person is confronted or questioned about the veracity of their story, they may react defensively to protect themselves or to avoid being found out, and this defensive behavior is often accompanied by evasive responses. Because when liar is asked about the details of the story, he avoids answering the questions directly. Instead, he changes the subject, responds with another question, or uses vague answers to hide details, and in some cases a person who is lying may react aggressively or hostilely when confronted about the veracity of his story. This person may raise his voice and become argumentative, or using offensive language as a way of trying to draw attention away from the lie. Additionally, a person who is lying can become defensive even when he is not lying. When questioned, this person may become tense, restless, crossing arms, or withdrawing emotionally to avoid being found out. Other defensive behavior of a lying person could be excessive use of justifications to explain their story, such as giving unnecessary details in an attempt to appear convincing. The fourth sign lying is increased stress. Lying can be a very stressful situation for some people because they are trying to deceive and hide a truth, and this stress can affect the body and mind of these people, leading to several behavioral and physiological changes, and among these behaviors are the change in body language. For example, because when someone is lying, that person can have an increase in their restlessness, such as fidgeting with hands, shaking legs, and flushed face, for example. In addition, stress affects a person's breathing when they are lying. as her breathing may become faster and more irregular, or she may even hold her breath for a few moments, and all this stress is also visible through more tense facial expressions such as frowning, biting her lips, or grimacing. For example, a lying person too can avoid eye contact or stare, or avoid answering questions clearly and directly to avoid being exposed, but stress alone does not. It's a definite proof that someone is lying because some people get stressed when they are confronted even if they are telling the truth. So look at the context and look for other signs to detect lies more accurately. Fifth, aggression and hostility. Aggressiveness or hostility. These are behaviors that also can be considered possible signs of lying, because when a person is lying and feels threatened or cornered, he may react aggressively or hostilely to protect himself or divert attention. The liar may also respond with verbal attacks such as insults, shouting, or offensive words as a form of defense or to intimidate the other person not to question him further. Can become confrontational and provocative. When over her lie, she can change the direction of the conversation by accusing the other person being wrong or even asking aggressive questions to distract attention. And this hostility, it is usually accompanied by aggressive gestures such as pointing the finger, gesturing sharply, or clenching the fists as a way of expressing their frustration. However, lie detection requires a more careful analysis of a person's behavior, as some people have more aggressive personality traits or react this way in stressful situations regardless of whether they are lying or not. These were the 5 most common signs of lying. If you liked the video and if it helped you in any way, I invite you to become a member here on the channel to get even more benefits from today's video. That's it. Hugs and see you next time.